On the morning of November 5th, 1991, a Spanish fishing vessel spotted a body floating in the Atlantic Ocean near the Canary Islands. The man was 68 years old, overweight, naked. His name was Robert Maxwell, and in the weeks that followed his death, investigators would uncover one of the most audacious financial crimes in modern history. A crime that didn't just steal money, it stole the retirement savings of 32,000 ordinary workers who had spent their entire lives trusting a man they never should have trusted at all. Robert Maxwell was not a quiet man. He was a media mogul, a member of British Parliament, a Holocaust survivor who built a publishing empire from nothing. He owned newspapers, he owned television stations, he owned the New York Daily News. People called him the publisher. His employees called him something else entirely. He was known for screaming at staff, firing people on the spot, and making business decisions that defied all logic. But none of that mattered because the money kept flowing, or so everyone believed. The truth was far darker. Behind the polished boardrooms in the private yacht, a 58-meter vessel he named Lady Ghislaine, Robert Maxwell was running out of money, fast. His companies were drowning in debt, his acquisitions had been reckless, his empire was built on borrowed time and borrowed billions, and he had found a way to buy himself more time, a way that would destroy tens of thousands of lives. The Mirror Group Pension Fund. 32,000 employees, teachers, janitors, editors, drivers, people who had worked their entire careers at Maxwell's companies, contributing every month to a pension fund that was supposed to guarantee them a dignified retirement. By law, that money was untouchable. It belonged to the workers. Maxwell didn't care. Between 1988 and 1991, he secretly transferred over £460 million from the pension funds of his companies, not just Mirror Group, but Maxwell Communication Corporation and dozens of subsidiaries. He moved the money through a web of shell companies, private trusts, and offshore accounts, so complex that even his own finance directors didn't fully understand it. He used pension money to prop up the share price of his own companies. He used it to service the interest on billions in bank loans. He used it to fund his own personal lifestyle, the yacht, the helicopters, the private chefs. And the regulators? They looked the other way. Maxwell had cultivated relationships with politicians across the United Kingdom. He had attacked journalists who questioned his finances in his own newspapers. He used lawsuits as a weapon to silence critics. In 1988, a Department of Trade and Industry report described him as someone, not in our opinion, a person who can be relied on to exercise proper stewardship of a publicly quoted company. That report was suppressed for years, and Maxwell continued, month after month, year after year, taking, until he couldn't anymore. By late 1991, the banks were calling in their loans, the stock prices were collapsing, the shell companies were running out of money to shuffle around. On November 4th, 1991, Robert Maxwell was seen for the last time on the deck of his yacht. The next morning, he was gone. The official cause of death: heart attack, accidental drowning. Some never believed it. When investigators finally accessed the books, all of them, the real ones, the scale of what Maxwell had done became clear. £460 million. Gone. Not lost, not mismanaged. Stolen. From people like John Jennings, who had worked 38 years at the Daily Mirror and was expecting a pension of £14,000 a year. He received a letter telling him his pension had been suspended. At age 63, he went back to work. He was not alone. Thousands of pensioners who had planned to retire were suddenly told that the money they had earned, the money they had been promised, simply wasn't there anymore. The British government eventually created a compensation scheme, but it took years, and it was incomplete. Some pensioners never recovered. Some died waiting. Now here is what makes this story different from just another financial scandal. Robert Maxwell didn't hide this crime in exotic derivatives or complex algorithms. He just took the money. He relied on one thing above all else: his reputation, his power, his connections, his willingness to sue anyone who dared to question him. And it worked. For years it worked. Because when someone seems powerful enough, rich enough, connected enough, we assume they must be legitimate. We hand them our trust, and sometimes they put that trust in their pocket, right alongside everything else. Maxwell died before he could face justice. His sons, Kevin and Ian, were charged with fraud. After a 3-year trial, one of the longest and most expensive in British legal history, they were acquitted. No one went to prison. 32,000 workers lost their pensions, and the man responsible was already at the bottom of the ocean. If you found this story worth knowing, subscribe, because this is what Dirty Ledger is here for. Not the headlines, not the press releases, the real story of what money does to people when no one is watching.